Yo, what is up, Grind Gang? How you living, baby? I hope you're living and loving your life out there today. And today's live stream is to help you do more of that. We are going to be talking about how to make genuine, strong connections and to create trust and authority even when you don't really know what you're talking about. So this is going to be really good if you are in situations where you're lacking certain skills, or you might be talking to people who are of a higher, let's call it, social status than you, and you don't really know how to relate to them. Maybe they're business professionals, CEOs, hot girls that you don't know, like hot dudes you don't know, whatever it is. People, when you don't know how to connect with people on a mind level, i.e. what they're talking about or the skills that you have, I'm going to teach you some super hacks to overcome some of those things. And so it's going to be a really great talk. We're going to hang out for about 15-20 minutes, and it's going to be a great conversation. This is my first live stream here on YouTube, so I'm super excited to be doing that, and there's going to be plenty more coming. We're going to have live streams 3 to 4 times a week, and I'm going to try and get them on a schedule so you guys can plan your days around them and show up and feed your mindset. You know, today's conversation is really about helping you build your mindset, because having a mindset is super key to life in general, really. Like, not just making connections and making friends and business partnerships, but life in general. And I think that it is one of the most overlooked things in our society, but one of the most powerful things. A lot of times we talk about what we do, but we don't talk about how we do those things. And so today we're going to talk about that, man. You know, if you don't know me already, my name is Rod the Planner, and I teach people ideas that can help them develop their spirit, mind, and body, and help them turn their spirit, mind, and body into assets that work for them instead of liabilities that might be holding them back. You know, I had to go on a long journey of this myself, and really making myself a person or an entity that has good things, ailments and sicknesses, and then, you know, my mind, getting my thoughts together and getting my thoughts in a way that were propelling me forward instead of holding me back. And lastly, really working on my spirit, my own connection with myself, understanding my emotions and the story that I'm living out in this reality, and how to use things that go beyond what our world can explain to better my life. So that's what I try and teach other people how to do and what to do in those instances. And so I hope that you will hang around, hit that subscribe button, and tune in for more good conversations like this that are really just geared towards trying to help you live a better, more fulfilling life. I don't really do this for me, I do it for you guys. So like I said, I've already done it. I already done all the work. Hey, by the way, this is also a live conversation. I like to have these conversations live. I think it's just more authentic and more real. So if that's like your type of tea, then this is going to be great for you, but understand that it might not flow as smoothly as some of the conversations that you see on YouTube, where they're very edited and curated. This is true, real, from the heart, and things that I truly care about. I'm going to check real quick to make sure that this is going through on Instagram, which I believe it is. All my Instagram peeps. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. All right. It's cropping different on Insta, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to turn this down a little bit so I can see the comments, and hopefully if you guys leave comments, they will show up right here, and we can talk about it, you know, whatever you guys got. If you have ideas, if you want to interject, if you have something, whatever, add to the conversation. Hey, I appreciate you, Miss Molly M. She said you're the best. You are too. We are the best. Okay, so how'd this conversation come to be, man? I really want to talk about why I was inspired to have this talk today, right? So I am on the middle of trying to create a social media marketing agency for myself in a content creation studio. So I have the skill of creating content, and I'm trying to take that now into the marketplace and sell it to people, right? And so as I'm going on doing this, I'm brand new to this whole space, right? I'm brand new, never really done anything. I don't have a strong portfolio to stand on. And whereas I do feel like I have the skills, I don't know how to portray those skills to the clients that I'm seeking. And so this is where this conversation came in handy, because right now I'm working on closing a deal that I haven't quite closed yet, but I'm working on closing it, and we're pretty far. I sent some proposals and things. And I'm going to be trying to close this contract for nearly like $7,000, right? So I'm charging somebody $7,000 to do something that I've never even done before. And I want to teach you guys how I went about doing that, or at least how I believe that I went about doing that. And this is not the first time that I've done something like this. I've been able to get really, really good opportunities for myself, even when I was underqualified for the opportunities that I was getting. And I think that it's because of these principles that I'm going to talk about in this live stream that have allowed me to do those things. You know, I'm a type of person who can punch above their weight, as so to speak. And so I want to get you, I want to help you guys do the same. Yeah. So this is really going to help you in your professional life, getting jobs. Right? Like I said, seeking opportunities. If you're trying to build a business or something, you're trying to close clients. This is going to help you in your personal life as well. Like, you know, talking to people and making genuine friendships and relationships, totally going to help you in that area. But I think it's going to be most beneficial if you're trying to create a professional relationship, right? A professional relationship. And like I said, this could be for getting raises. This could be for getting new opportunities in your job or to get new jobs, you know, especially if you're going to go into an interview. The skills that we're going to talk about today are going to be astronomically important. Make sure, hit me in the chat and let me know, is this coming through all right? Because it's the first time that I've ever streamed to Instagram from my computer, and obviously on YouTube as well. Cool. I see Maddie in here. I see Pink Dreams in here. What's good? My boy JT just celebrated a birthday. Happy birthday to you, my friend. Yeah, so let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. So I talked a little bit about how this conversation came to be. We're going to talk about 3 specific points that are going to help you essentially do one thing, and that's to curate a vibe that people resonate with, right? We're going to talk about how we use passion and vibration to make connections, to gain authority and trust without skills, right? So I teach the spirit, mind, and body, and those mean different things, right? Your body is obviously your body, how you take care of yourself, the types of food you eat, how much sleep you're getting, water, all the things that go into just basic good health, extremely important. Right? It's so hard to live a fulfilling life. It's so hard to come out and do the things that life demands of us if we're not healthy. So I talk about that, but that will not be in this conversation today. Okay. The other thing I talk about is the mind. Now, to me, what mind means is your thoughts, right? Like, and how your brain works. But I also relate that to the skills that you have in the world, right? We live in a society and a world that is predicated on providing value to other people. And so the more value you can provide to other people through the skills that you have, the understanding and the knowledge that you obtain, then the more valuable you'll be, and living a life where we are properly rewarded for the things that we do in the world is so important. It's so hard to live a fulfilling life if you're not doing things that you care about, if you're not good at what you do, and you're not being properly compensated for the things that you do, right? Nobody, hey, you can be happy all you want to, and trust me, there's a whole subsection of people who are happy and broke, right? I don't want you to be one of those people. I want you to be happy and successful. And so I talk about things that involve the mind and your skill set. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. But what we're really talking about is how do we overcome that deficiency in that area? If we have deficiencies in our mind, in our thoughts, in our knowledge, in our capabilities, in the marketplace, how do we overcome that? And we're going to talk about using our spirit tree, right? The spirit development that we've done to compensate for our lack of skills in our mind tree. And when we're talking about that, so when I talk about things like passion, vibration, connection, all of those things are really predicated on spirit, guys, right? It's really predicated on spirit. One of the things I said in this conversation, my first point, is how you do something is far more important than what you do, okay? How you do something is far more important than what you do. Oh, it looks like we're having some live stream problems. I think it's coming back. Your boy drinking that Polar Premium Seltzer right here. I'm all about these seltzer waters lately. No alcohol, just straight water. It's delicious. Hopefully my live stream's kicking, but we're just gonna keep going on nonetheless. So how you do something, so much more important than what you do, right? And I think that this whole conversation can be summed in that, right? How you're doing things, how you're approaching them, the vibrations that you're giving off when you're approaching things will compensate for 90% of your interaction with other people. So little of how we interact with people is about what we actually say or what we actually do. A lot of things are predicated on how we do them. So for instance, I've been a videographer for a long time, and I'm not the most skilled videographer there is. I don't do the firest edits. I don't have the sickest camera quality or things like that. Oh, Maddie says we're looking good. I don't have the best camera skills or take the best shots or anything, right? But I often am prioritized for jobs that people need videographers for because people like to be around me, right? People like to be around me. That's such a big part of what you do. You could be the best. You could be the absolute best. But if you lack emotional control, if you don't give off very strong positive vibrations, and you don't have an ability to connect to people on a real level outside of just what you're doing, it's going to hold you back, right? It's going to hold you back. Now, I talk about how you can use all of these different trees in different levels, and you will throughout your time. And we'll talk about all the different ways that you can use them, right? And you're going to be overdeveloped and underdeveloped in different areas. So some people do get jobs, make a lot of money, make a lot of good connections just based solely on the fact that they're the best at what they do. You could be a dick, right? You can be an asshole. You could be depressed. You could have all types of shit going on. If you're the best at what you do, people will want to work with you. But we're not always the best at what we do, right? And so this is something that, like I said, this is a hack that you can use to overcome that. She said, Hannah said, people hire people they know, like, and trust. Absolutely, absolutely, that they know and that they like and that they trust, right? And so this is actually something I'm working into a course that I'm going to be making called the Confidence and Connection Masterclass, where I'm going to talk all of this stuff about how to make those types of connections with people and get people to like you. And so I think that starts by you first liking yourself, right? Like having developed your connection to yourself, right? And being confident in who you are as a person, and not just confident because you're cool or because you do things very well, just understanding your inherent value as a person. Everybody has inherent value as a person, right? And when we're working with people, CEOs, fucking top models, I don't care, people who are awesome at what they do, they have thousands of followers or they're super rich, doesn't matter what their status is, right? That's all mind stuff, that's all ego stuff. When you rip all that shit away, right? When you take away the titles and the money and all that stuff, we are all people, and we're all struggling with the same existential crisis of what the fuck am I doing here on this planet, right? So when you can really get in touch and tapped in with that, right, and understand that you're not just playing an egoic game of this is what I do and this is how, I'm so good at it, and you can just strip all that away and get to the person that you are, and understand that the other people that you're talking to and interacting with are people too. As I sit down to talk, and I had to have a couple meetings with the CEO of this company that I'm trying to close a deal with. And my first thing was I understood that I was not on the same status level as this person, right? They're the CEO of this big company. I'm just a guy trying to start. I don't really even know what the fuck I'm doing, So I'm trying to portray and connect to this person and show them that I can get the job done and that they should take a chance on me, right? And it's hard, but my first goal was to strip away that title, the status, all that stuff, and just realize that this is a person with problems, needs, wants, desires, strengths, weaknesses, all the same things that I have, right? And so a lot of times when we go into situations, we devalue ourselves right off the bat because we're like, well, I have weaknesses, right? Well, I don't really know what I'm doing, so this person's not going to want to interact with me. And we automatically kind of put ourselves down because we, like I said, get wrapped up in what this person does. Realize that this person has weaknesses just like you. If it's your boss, if it's a girl or guy that you're talking to, all these things, They have weaknesses just like you. And so when you are making mistakes or not having the answers to all the questions or not being able to say what you want to say in the way that you want to say it, right? Understand that this person can relate to that. Any person can relate to that. We all know what it's like to be in situations where we're not as talented, good looking, confident as we want to be. We all know this, right? You come out, you have a pimple on your face. You're embarrassed by that. But understand that, like I said, when we strip away all that stuff, we've all had pimples on our face. We all get it, right? We all know what it's like. We all know what it's like to be starting out somewhere and starting out with something. You're just now building your business, right? And you're going out and you're talking to other people who have well-established businesses. Just because they've reached the top of a mountain that you're trying to climb, they still remember what it was like when they were at the bottom of the mountain. They can relate to that, right? And so I'm going to give you some skills at the end of this about how you can cultivate and tap into that, right? And get this person to take a leap of faith on you, just like somebody took a leap of faith on them when they were starting their business, right? And we're going to talk about what incentivizes someone to want to take that leap, to want to trust you, even if you're not the most qualified, or you're not the best speaker, or you're not confident in the situation. Catching up with the comments. Constant healing process. Yep, 100%. Constantly adapting, constantly learning, man. You got to keep developing it. And I'm going to talk about that in point 2, okay? So what I want you to do is next time you're in one of these situations where you feel like you are out of your league, all right? And that's what I'm just going to call it from now on. You're out of your league, right? Like I said, whether that be because you don't have the skills or the status or the ego, whatever. The ego doesn't match, and so you feel like you're out of your league. Do not focus on what you do. Focus on how you do things, right? Be the type of person that has a strong mindset and strong character qualities. Remember this, character qualities that people can invest in and care about and develop. Because you can learn the skills. I don't care what the job is. I don't care what the relationship requirements are. You can learn those things. What's super difficult to teach people is things like passion, compassion, dedication, hard work, emotional control, right? So these are all skills in themselves, but they're more like character traits that you have to build, and you can build them. You can develop them. It's not something you have or don't have, but most people never focus on those things. Most people never focus on their character traits. They spend all this time and energy studying YouTube videos, reading books, going to college, fucking working up the corporate ladder, studying their job, but very rarely do people put effort into actually building their character in a way that they have to use as a superpower when they lack those certain skills, right? You see this all the time, man. Somebody gets everything stripped from them and they're a wreck, right? And that's just because they've depended so much on just their status or just their knowledge or the things that they know and do, right? So I want you to become a person who focuses on how you do things. How do you talk to people, right? How do you talk to people? When you're talking to people, what's your body language like, right? Like, how are you actually being in the conversation? Imagine I came on this live stream right now and I was like this. Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm really excited to talk to you about right? How you gonna respond to that? You're immediately gonna be like, nah, fuck this. It doesn't even matter what I know. I could know everything. I could be the smartest motherfucker you've ever tuned into on this freaking platform. But if I came to you like this, and I was just like, well, I just, I really wanted to share some super. You're not gonna want to tune into that. You're not gonna believe. It's gonna take away from my credibility and my strength, right? So, first step is to start focusing on how you do things, right? Focus on your tonality, your body language, the actual vibration that you're giving off, right? And this is so hard to do sometimes, man. Because the only reason it's so hard to do is because you're so focused on, well, am I saying the right thing? Mind stuff, right? You're letting your thoughts dictate the whole interaction. So you're just like, Well, am I saying the right things? Am I credible enough to talk to this person? Do I have something? You're thinking all these thoughts about the fact that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and so people can sense that and they can feel that, and it will immediately tell. It'll give you away 100%, right? 100%. So I always dictate, first of all, how I do things. I don't care if I'm the best, the worst, the nothing. You're going to see a smile on my face. I'm showing up with a smile. I'm talking to you with a smile. Even if at the end of the conversation, you're like, I can't believe I just spent 20 minutes with this dumbass. You're gonna feel good because I'm going to be smiling at you the whole time. I don't care if you insult me. All right. I don't even care. Because I'm not really focused on that, right? I'm focused on how I'm doing it instead of what I'm doing, right? Always. And like I said, that goes for all my skills. When I'm doing videography, when I'm in the gym, when I'm talking to people, when I'm anything. I always think first, like, how am I doing this? What kind of character traits am I bringing to the table to do this? Okay, so that's step one, right? We're just going to drive our focus to that. Next time you're in interactions, next time you find yourself in a business meeting, or you're in a, let's use an interview. We all understand what it's like to go for a job. Maybe not all of us have started businesses or had to work with clients or sell, but we all know what it's like to go into an interview where you have to sell yourself, right? So many people are nervous about that interaction because they're like, oh, my resume isn't good enough. And oh, what if they ask me a question I don't know the answer to, blah, blah, blah. First, go in there, make sure that person's having a good day, right? Make a genuine connection with this person. Strip away the title, boss, employee, strip away all that shit. And really just tune into this person as a person. And be there, be present with them, right? Be passionate about the circumstance. Be grateful. Right? Spirit is all about emotion, guys. All about emotion. All about having the right emotion and transferring the right emotion to other people, right? Connecting on a spiritual level. So do that before you talk about business or all the qualifications you have that this girl should date you because you make X amount of money, or this guy is like, or you're like, well, I'm the hottest girl ever. So before you get to all that, make sure that you're putting out a good vibration that makes this person be like, wow, I feel better just being in the presence of this person. This is a superpower, all right? If there's one thing, I'm overly developed in the spirit category. I'm really good at that part. I lack in mind and well, bodies come up. I lack in mind sometimes, and that's why I'm giving you guys a conversation about how to overcome that. But when I went into that meeting with that CEO, before a single word came out of my mouth, me or my brother, this was a meeting I took with my brother. She said, wow, you guys got great smiles, man. Like, that's how we came on. Like, as soon as the Zoom call started, I'm like, hey, Jennifer, how you doing? I hope you're having a great day. How you feeling? Immediately feeling, setting the tone of the space. And we've all been in situations like this, right? Where you come in and people don't make you feel welcomed, right? And when you don't feel welcomed, it doesn't even matter what they say. It doesn't even matter how good they are. You're already apprehensive. You're just like, I don't really want to be here because this person doesn't even seem like they want me to be here, right? And this goes in any interaction. So first thing I do is I establish that. I'm like, okay, let's set the right tone for this conversation that we're about to have. All right. Now, I'm going to give you guys skills on how to do this at the end, okay? So stick with me for, a couple more minutes, and I'm going to give you some skills of or some practices and ideas of what exactly to do to be able to cultivate that vibe right off the rip, right? And some of it's body language, some of it's tonality, some of it's understanding, but mostly it's about the character traits that you've built inside yourself, okay? So first thing first, I'm like, yo, we're just going to have a good day. We're going to have a good time. Hey, maybe we leave here and you don't want to do business with me. Maybe we leave here and I don't get the job, right? But I want you to still look back on that interaction and say, wow, that was an awesome interaction. Like, I like that person. They were very genuine. They were very friendly. They were very warm and welcoming. And this is something that you have to do on purpose, okay? You have to do it on purpose, guys. Like, so many people are like, I'm smiling. No, you're not. You have to I go beyond a normal smile, right? Like, I go beyond with my tonality and everything, like understanding that just because I'm not bashing on, so that's what it is. Like, if I'm not talking shit, people are like, oh, I was being nice. No. Not talking shit and being nice are not the same thing, right? And so you really want to push this, go above and beyond to make sure that this person understands that you're happy, you're grateful, you're excited at the opportunity. Don't think that they're just gonna don't take it for granted and be like, well, I'm here, so of course I must be excited. No, fuck that. Show that you are excited to be there in that interaction. Okay, so now here's the second tip, or the second point that I want to make. Right, now that we know that we're focusing on how we're doing, right, don't think that just because Rod told you to focus on it, that when you step up in that interview or you step up into some high pressure situation, a sales call, a relationship, like I said, you're going to go holler at this person for the first, that you're going to be like, yeah, I'm focused on how I'm being. Not wrong, right? We always, I love the saying that you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to your highest level of preparation. Think about that. You don't rise to the occasion. You're not going to show up in a high pressure situation and start punching above your means. Man, let me see if I can, how do I straighten myself out in the Insta? You're not going to rise up to the occasion, right? It's just not how it works. You know, in basketball and stuff, to be able to win a game 7, you can't just all of a sudden I'm going to just be the best ever. They practice to a level that far exceeds anything that they would do in a game, so that when they get to the game, it's second nature. It works like clockwork. It's easy to pull off. So this is you too. How you do one thing is how you do everything. It's one of my favorite life quotes, right? How you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So when you're talking about thinking about how I do things, don't just think about it in these everything. How do you wake up in the morning? How do you go to sleep? How do you do things that you don't want to do? What kind of mindset, what kind of energy are you bringing to a situation where you don't want to do something? All right? So often we're like, well, I'll be happy if it's something awesome, but if it sucks, I'm going to bitch about it and complain about it, all right? I'm going to be moody about it. I'm going to let everybody know that I'm displeased by doing this, right? So you start practicing these skills in your everyday life. Just all the time. You just start thinking. The focus isn't just in the moment, it's all the time. You start focusing all the time. How am I being in this situation? All right? How am I approaching like I said, anything. Today I had to go sweep up my backyard, and it was just nothing. I was just raking leaves, right? I was acting like I was raking those leaves like it was the job, right? I'm like, yo, I'm working hard, I'm sweating. I don't really have to do it, but it needed to get done. But I'm just at it like, fuck, I'm working hard, man. I'm out there sweating. I'm moving quickly. There ain't even no boss there. There's nobody there to be like, yo, this has to be done by a certain time or nothing. But I'm just a timely person, and so I'm exercising those qualities there, right? If you're somebody who works hard, you work hard all the time, right? At everything that you do, the best of your ability, guys. Come on now. I'm not talking about being perfect, right? There's gonna be times where you're lacking, you're slacking, right? There's gonna be times where you're not going to execute on things to the best of your ability. That's fine, right? That's totally fine. But are you trying? Are you trying to do that, right? Or are you it drives me nuts when I hear people say, oh, well, this isn't that important, so I'm not going to give it my all, right? Practice. You have a practice. People will try and play softer in practice than they do in the game. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because, again, we talked about how you practice is how you're going to play the game. So if you're lacking in your practice, you're going to lack in your game, right? One of the best ways to measure the quality of a person, especially a guy, but how do they treat people who can do nothing for them? You see this happen all the time. If there's somebody you like, if there's somebody who can do something for you, oh, you're so nice and you're warm and you're smiling and you're trying to get, as soon as you're talking to somebody who can't do shit for you or is kind of annoying you or something, all of a sudden that shit switch up, right? Everybody switch up their whole tonality, their whole personality, the way that they treat that person switches up. You don't want to be like that. Remember, we're connecting to people on a genuine level. So we're practicing that. So it doesn't mean just trying to connect to people who are above you in status and trying to be genuine with them. Be genuine with people who are below your status too. I spend so much effort and time, and I'm not just trying to gas myself or say I'm the best guy ever, but I'm just saying this is what I mean by this personality. I talk to every single person like they're paying me thousands of dollars to coach them. I don't care. Matter of fact, a friend of mine just hit me up this week, and she said, "Hey, a friend of mine's kind of struggling, and she needs somebody to talk to. Will you talk to them? Will you get on a Zoom call with them?" Dude, I charge people thousands of dollars to do those Zoom calls, free. I was like, "Yeah, sure. Let's set it up. Let's put it on a schedule, right?" Because that's the type of person I am, right? That's the character trait that I'm trying to develop. One of my principles in life, and we'll talk about this at the end, about cultivating a spirit that is like what we want it to be. And one of those things is the principles that you live by, and having principles that you live by, having your character be important to you, right? Like focusing on your character and understanding that your character is not dictated, again, by if this person's important, not important, if this is costing me, making me money, none of that stuff. It's just like, this is a genuine human being. I'm somebody who prides myself on caring about human beings, right? And trying to help people better their life. So I'm not going to just only do that if it means YouTube views. I'm not going to only do that if that means that they're paying me, right? I'm going to try and add or provide the highest quality of service to any person who needs it, and I can, right? And so I approach those situations. So this is my point. In all your interactions in life, try to focus on that, how you're being, and try to be the best quality version of yourself, right? And this is going to be easier. So then when you need to turn this up a notch in these high pressure situations, it's gonna be a lot easier because you've practiced so much. It becomes second nature. You're always like, okay, cool. I want to be genuine. I want to be kind. I want to be happy in this situation, grateful, yada, yada, yada. These things you cultivate all the time. So recapping already, we said, first of all, let's start focusing on how we do things. When I come to the meeting, it's far more important for me to be relaxed, happy, grateful, have the right emotional mindset, to have the right emotions come, smiling, excited. I don't like to use the word confident because I'm not even confident, because like I said, I don't even know what I'm talking about. It's more genuinely about, like, in my mind, the thought going in my mind is, how do I make this person's day better? Right? How do I have this person have a better day because they talk to me? How do I help you guys have a better day just because you tuned into this live stream? Right? Even if it's just like, I love his passion and his excitement and his smile, or whatever the case, right? Even if they're like, well, everything he said was trash, but I just like the way he says the things. So that's my mindset going into these interactions. So first, we're focusing on that. Second, we're not just going to focus in game time. We're going to focus all the time. Always. If we have an opportunity, even if it's a small opportunity, I want you to chase it like it's $1 million. Don't be the type of person that scales your shit back and forth depending on what the situation dictates. Be a principle-based person. Live a principle-based life that you do things because that's the way you do them. I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting there going above and beyond for something that doesn't even matter. Making a reel. I understand, dude, I'll spend hours making a reel knowing that nobody's going to see it, but it's just the way I do. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do it good. And this is going to lead me to my third point. That's why people are willing to take chances on me, because I've practiced this and cultivated it so much that they can sense when they're talking to me, you know what? This guy doesn't really know what he's doing, but he seems like the type of guy that's going to work hard to figure it out. That's what they're thinking. They're like, he might not really understand what we're trying to accomplish here, but he seems like at least he's going to be easy to work with. So I want to work with him. Right. He's like, I'm always constantly in that state. So people will forgive a lot of the times that I'm not, right. And not the best, not the most qualified, not the smartest, whatever. They're going to give me strength, or they're going to go on strength because they see that I'm putting out these qualities. So let's talk about some of these qualities that you can develop in yourself that people are looking for, that they want to work with, and that they will prioritize above your skill level, right? They're going to prioritize these things. I promise you. I'm talking 2 to 1, 5 to 1 even, right? I can't tell you how many times I've had lower quality videos, lower quality work, and this time, like, not having the right skill set, and people are still willing to take chances and work with me, give me money, all these things, because they see that I'm the type of person they want to work with. You already know. I don't need to tell you. I will tell you because I might have some ideas about this that you don't know because I've been practicing for a long time. But think about it. Who do you like talking to? Who do you like working with? Why? All right. What kind of qualities do they have that you admire, that you like being around? Okay. And then start thinking of yourself, back to point 1, of somebody who can cultivate those qualities. if you're like, well, I like the way they speak their mind, right? When you think about it, you're not like, well, I like the opinions that they have. Because you don't always like the opinions that people have, right? Most of the time you don't like the opinions that people have, right? But you might like the way that they portray their opinions, or convey their opinions is the word that I'm looking for. So you might be in that sense. So let's talk about some of the qualities that you want to have. And some of these are going to sound basic, but I really want you guys to stick with me and think, and maybe even write these down so you can start thinking, okay, cool, I'm going to start cultivating this in my day-to-day habits, in my life, and the way I approach. First of all, hard work. Hate to hit you right with the most generic one, period, but it's just hard work. That's it. Dude, guys, you might not have the most money. You might not drive the flyest car. You might not be the best looking guy out there. If you could show a girl that you're willing to work hard in the relationship, think of how far that goes. Ladies in here, come on, tell me, how much would you prefer a man who is passionate about, excited about working hard in your relationship? Number one thing an employer wants from an employee is how hard they work. I'll teach you the job. I'll teach you the skills. I'll do it all day long. But if you're not somebody who works hard and works hard all the time, some people work hard. I talk about this all the time. Some people work hard. People be like, oh, I don't really want to do this. I don't really, blah, blah, I'm tired. I don't have a lot of time, yada, yada, yada. If I say, well, what if I said I was going to give you $1 million to make this happen tomorrow? They'll be like, oh, I can't get it done. All these excuses, all these reasons why somebody can't get some shit done, until I'd be like, hypothetically, we throw $1 million on it. All of a sudden, magically, all the bridges disappear. All the reasoning that they had that they couldn't get it done by this time or whatever, all of a sudden that shit disappears, right? We already talked about, we don't want to be that type of person, right? People will sense that on you. One thing I really want you to understand, and that's why I said point 2, is you can't fake it. These are not things that you can fake. You can smile. People, I see through all the time sad smiles. I see it all the time, okay? I see people all the time trying to project confidence to me, but they're not confident. I can tell. I can feel it. If you're talking to somebody who's aware, even if they're not aware, they're just gonna know. You ever talk to somebody and you just really automatically are just like, nah, this dude ain't with the shits, right? And you can tell that they have malintentions, that they're trying to scam you. They're trying to get over on you. They're trying to take shortcuts. Like, people can feel these things and sense these things. So they're not something you can fake, right? So hard work. You can't fake it in the moment. Maybe you will for a second. You might get the job. You might show them for a week. And then 2 weeks down the road, you're going to start slacking. They're going to fucking can your ass. Or, how many times I've been promoted over my peers? Countless. In the Army, I was just like, bam, 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 getting promotions past guys who've been there 10 years, because I was just outworking them. I was just working harder than them at everything. I'd be like, yo, I'm volunteering. I'll take out the trash. I'll do this. I'll stay late. I'll work more. I got it. Something I trained myself to do. I'm not saying like I was not born like this. Y'all gotta understand that, right? I wish I would have started from the beginning. I was not born like this. Okay. I used to be the laziest, slowest. No, I can't even tell y'all. All right. So I wasn't always like this, but I started to cultivate these things in myself, and people started to take notice. So you got to be a hard worker. Okay. You got to be somebody who's willing to do whatever it takes. And people are going to sense that, people are going to sense that, like, yo, this dude's going to go above and beyond, right? Because they'll just know, just from your like conversation, like the fact that you're going above and beyond in the conversation, right? Really tuning into them and listening to them and putting yourself aside. They're like, okay, this is the type of person who puts himself aside. And that's my second point. Be the type of person who puts other people's needs above your own, right? This is a character trait that you have. It's a quality that you develop in yourself all the time. It doesn't take no skill. You don't need to read a single book about this, right? Somebody who puts the needs of other people above their own. If you can cultivate that in your life, and this happens all the time, you can't tell you how many times, like I said, when I was talking, people want my time. They're like, yo, talk to me. I got shit to do. It's not like I don't got stuff to do. All right. I got places to be. I got things I want to do. This happens all the time in my daily interactions. My kid, I'll be playing a video game. My kid will come up to me. Dad, look at this, blah, blah, blah. You know how bad I want to be like, leave me alone, I'm playing a video game. So bad. Of course, we all have an ego. We all have things that we want and all this stuff and how we feel, right? You got to get to this place where you start putting that stuff aside. It takes practice. It takes self-awareness, right? I could do whole talks on every single one of these qualities that we're going to talk about, but start thinking about it in that sense. Like, remember all the points that we talked about prior to this, because that's where the sauce really is. It's not in just like, can I do it right now because of this high pressure situation? Start cultivating yourself. It's like when you feel like, dang, I don't really want to do this, but this person needs me. Make that choice. Make that choice to put that person above your own. You know, so I sit there and I'll be like, I don't really want to do this, but I really want to put my kids' needs above my own. And so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do that because that's the type of person I want to be. And I want to understand that that's how you change. That's how you develop these qualities, right? Every time I think of it as like chips in a bucket, or like you ever filled up a big coin jar, right? And every time you just throw a little coin in there, and day to day it doesn't change, but over a year, 2 years, all of a sudden you got a big 5-gallon jug of coins. You can't even pick the shit up, right? It just becomes who you are. And so every time you make a decision, you're casting a coin into one of those buckets, and each time that's becoming more of the person that you are. Right? So every time I do that, every time I put somebody else's needs above my own, whether it be holding the door open at the grocery store, or taking my time out of my day to help somebody else, or doing something for somebody else that I don't want to do, I'm casting more of those things in the bucket. So that when I show up to a meeting to ask somebody for $7,000 for something I don't know how to do, they can sense. I don't even have to tell them. I don't have to be like going to an interview. Yeah, I'm dedicated, man. I work hard. I'm going to put your needs above. They can tell. Because guess what? You'd be like, hey, I want to have the meeting at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm there. Let's do it. If that's the time that's best for you, I'm there. I'm not going to be like, oh, man, that's not really good for me, you know, right? Like me. You got to be somebody who's focused far more on what other people are receiving than what you're putting out or what you're getting. So you want to cultivate that, and it takes practice, okay? So dedication, hard work, putting other people's needs above your own, your natural disposition. This is your vibe. This is your, how happy are you? How grateful are you? How excited you are? How much are you vibrating at a high level, right? You can tell. Can you tell? I would like to think that you can tell. I didn't just show up today like this. Like you can tell, like I like to think that people can tell that the smile on my face is not manufactured. I'm not making it up. It's who I am. Because I've casted enough coins in that bucket every single day. Doing the same thing that we talked about before. Some days I want to be grumpy. And I'm like, nah, come on, man. Be the type of person who's happy, excited, grateful. Focus. It's all about focus. Self-awareness, all about focus. Directing your attention towards things. Just by you showing up on this live stream, you're showing the universe, you're showing yourself, your own spirit, that this is something that you are prioritizing, that's important to you. And so you do that by applying your focus to it, and that's everything. So you start focusing on that, focusing on your vibe, all right? Day to day, all the time, focus on that shit. Cultivate it. It takes practice. Do gratitude journals. Spend time thinking about all the things that you're grateful for. Your brain's not going to do it by itself. I promise you. You already know this. It's not going to do that. Your brain by itself is going to look at all the things that you have to complain about in a day, and that's going to make you grumpy, irritable, all these things, right? I said I wasn't going to really talk about this, but your body, same bit. It's so hard to be happy in a good mood when you're hungry, when you're tired, when you're not drinking enough water, when you know, if you're not taking care of your body, if you're eating shit food, if you just lack energy, you're going to express that in your mood, right? So cultivate a happy, positive disposition. It's something that you practice. Like I said, again, I wasn't always like this, you know? And so practicing that on a day-to-day basis so that when you have to show up to these things, that's just naturally who you are, and it comes out really easy and simple, right? I got a couple more that I was like, yo, this is really... Oh, okay, last one. Problem solving, okay? Problem solving. This is how you're really going to overcome what we were just talking about. You don't know what you're doing, right? You don't understand. You never done this before. People can sense in me just by like when they come up with challenges and stuff like that. I'm the type of person who's going to go find the answer, right? I'm going to figure it out. I'm passionate about figuring it out. That's one thing about this whole conference is like passion. Like people can feel when people are dedicated and passionate and excited about stuff. And when they're like that, they get that way. It transfers over to them. So like I said, when I'm just excited and passionate happy about being at the meeting, so are you. right? If I'm passionate, excited about being on the live stream, so are you, right? If I'm depressed, so are you. If I'm anxious, so are you, right? Like, so doing that, but being like, people can tell I'm like, I'm gonna solve a problem, right? I might not know how to do it right now, but you won't talk to me again and I won't have not figured it out, right? And I've realized over time that problem solving is a skill just like any other skill. It takes creativity and it takes practice. And so you going out and looking for problems to solve, whether that be your own problems, your own emotional problems, your own financial problems, it could be as simple as like, I have a squeaky toilet, go figure out how to fix it. Stop letting it just sit there and be a pile of mess in your life. Go out there and try and figure out how to fix it. Try and figure out how to fix your car. Try and figure out how to sew your own clothes, right? We all have problems all day, but what do most people do? They just sit there and stare at their problems or complain about their problems, right? Or look to somebody else to solve their problems. And what do we talk about? That's just you casting that bucket of helplessness and of lack of, what's the word I'm looking for? Lack of initiative. You're just waiting, and they're gonna sense that in a meeting. The people are gonna talk to you, or in a interview, or a girl, any of that stuff. Guy too. I'm a guy, so I just keep using girl. But when I throw out relationship things, understand I'm talking about both, right? If you've done that, people are gonna sense that. They're gonna say, well, this dude isn't really resilient. Like, this dude doesn't really, when things get tough, this dude's just gonna sit around and wait for somebody else to figure it out for them. And why do I want to pay somebody to just watch the problem? I don't. I want to pay people to solve my problems, right? To figure out solutions to problems. Shit, half of your value in the marketplace is your ability to solve problems. That's really all it is. That's all it is. So you've worked on that ahead of time, and you've cultivated your skill of problem solving, and people are going to feel that out, right? These are all character traits that you have. And that was my point with this conversation is it might sound basic and mundane and stuff, but how many people really do it? Honestly, how many people out here working on their kindness? How many people out here you really know working on their smile? People ain't practicing their smile out here, And so when you do that work, when you do that character building work, the ability to put other people above yourself, the hard work, the I'm a dedicated person, I do good work, I do good no matter what. Dude, integrity, right? You know what I'm saying? Integrity. Like, you know how hard it is sometimes to just do the right thing, even when nobody's going to figure it out, but you want to build that skill because people are going to sense that when we talk about trust, it's not going to be what you say. People are going to sense the fact that, like, you know what, this dude's not lying to me. When they when they ask you some technical question or something, don't sit there and try and bullshit and lie and be like, oh, well, this and that, and try and look professional. Just simply be like, you know what, I don't really know how I would do that, or I don't know the answer to that, but I know that I would be passionate about finding that answer. I know that I'm somebody who loves to solve problems and help other people. And I know that I would spend an inordinate amount of time trying to solve that problem for you if it came down to that. And they're going to be like, wow, this dude's got wow, like, that's an amazing character trait to have. Wow, the integrity to tell me that they didn't understand this or don't know how to do this, right? The humility, all these things are character traits. And so, guys, that's what this today is about. And I hope that it helps you. I really want you to spend time. Right? Don't get on this live, leave this live, and not try and take what I'm saying to heart and use it, because you're going to do yourselves a huge disservice, right? Start tomorrow, start today, start thinking about, like, okay, how am I being right now? Like, what kind of character traits am I developing right now? Am I developing a character trait of laziness? And what coins am I throwing my buckets, or what buckets am I throwing my coins in? All right? And keep on purpose, throwing a little coin here, throwing a little coin there, doing the right thing, working hard, even when you don't want to, even when you can't tell. That's the best, man, is when you get to a place where you just do good shit because that's just who you are. It doesn't matter if anybody sees it. It doesn't matter if they're going to pay you or not. It doesn't matter. Like, how much work I did for this client before I even asked them for money? Tons. Came up with the whole proposal, the whole idea, the conception, everything. I gave them scripts and all. I wasn't sitting over there being like, oh, well, you got to pay me before right? Think about that. Think just like from a character standpoint. Could be the best in the world. But if I show up and I'm like, well, I'm not going to do anything until you pay me, of course. You want to work with that person? Not even, right? I put in hella work, right? To show my value, because I'm the type of person who I'm gonna do it either way. And if you fuck me over, if you go and you take my ideas and steal me or never pay me, you know, I've already cultivated the character, the quality to be like, I'm not gonna be cynical about that. That's on you. That's on your karma. I'm not gonna take that to heart. You know what I mean? Like, I know that the universe is always gonna open doors for me because I'm that type of person, and those type of people always win in the long run. Alex Hormozy just put a quote out today, and he said the person with the strongest character always wins on a long enough time horizon. And that's just true. I might lose in that short term, but overall, long term, good people win, man. They just do. And so, you know, I always maintain that. It's my character quality over everything, over what I know, over being the coolest person in the room, being the most intelligent. Like, none of that stuff matters, guys. All these skills and stats and status that we try to achieve, none of that matters. Being a good quality person gonna get you more business, more relationships, more friendships. The amount of, dude, I got trust from people, you know, like trust. That's a real currency. And that's what I'm talking about. Somebody's gonna pay me $7,000 just on trust. All right, just on trust. I got no profile. I got nothing to show them of this is what I've done. This is how awesome it is. They just trust me to not even get it right. That's the great thing about it. They don't even trust me to get it right. What they trust me to do is my best. That's what they're trusting me to do. All right. Anytime I show up, people know that they're like, you know what? I can depend on Rod to give me his best. And that's going to open up so many more doors for you than any book you can read or any college you can go to or any skill that you have. Is just being the type of person that gives your best, gives your all, no matter what, right? And do that in a way that helps people feel good about themselves and about their lives, right? And the more you do that, the more you cultivate that, dude, money, endless. Opportunities, endless. Relationships, friendships, all that are going to be endless. You know, not to just beat a dead horse, but just think about that even in your personal relationships. I talked about this a lot through the angle of professional life, but think about it in your personal life, right? Like, don't you want to date somebody who cares about you more than they ask of you in return? That's what real love is anyways, right? Is your ability to to give to other people. And we all want to be in a relationship where other people are caring about us and are willing to put their own egos aside and their own BS aside to help us when we're down, or to raise our vibrations in our day when we can't do it for ourselves. And so when you become that type of person, your opportunity is endless, right? Because everything in this world, everything in this life is built on relationships, money, status, friendships, you know, all that stuff. When you strip it all away, you go to McDonald's, you just play a house. There's a guy behind the counter and he's wearing some little fancy suit. You playing Sims, right? But ultimately, it's all about the people. It's all about the people. So cool. I'll leave it at that, man. I love you guys so much, man. I really appreciate you spending time. I know your time is valuable, and I hope that I gave you something that you can use, even if it's just a way of thinking about something, right? Even if it's just like, you know what, leaving this, I'm inspired to just keep working on my character and my mindset. Right. And in the future, we'll talk about skills, because, dude, having skills, of course, you know, like, I do have a certain level of skills. I could not come in there and know nothing about marketing and try and sell people, or you can't know nothing about anything and still work. So having skills is important, and that's what we talked about, the different trees. You got to develop all of those things. You got to develop your health, you know, develop your spirit, develop your mind. And we'll talk about that in another talk about how to actually develop skills and go about doing that in a way that's efficient and fun, right? But in the meantime, I hope this is helpful. Think about your character traits. Be a high quality person, right? Smile at people. Think about how you're impacting their day more than they're impacting your day. If they're in a bad mood, don't get in a bad mood. Match them. Try and help them have a better day, right? When you go into that interview, think about how this person is. Like, are they having a good day? Do they look happy to be there? Maybe work on that first. Because I tell you what, if they come in moping, but by the time they leave and they're happy and excited, like, wow, this was a fun conversation, you're getting the job. You're getting the job. Don't matter what your resume say. You're getting the job, right? All right, man. I love you so much. I'll talk to you again soon.